You're listening to SM Media. Hi, folks, and welcome to the latest episode of the 80 All Things West region. I'm Scott McPike. It is a pleasure, as always, to be your host. I am thrilled this week to be joined by my special guest. Always a pleasure to have him on the show. Thoroughly enjoy his company. It is the one and only Mark MacKay.
Thanks for having us, Scott. Thanks for having us. I really enjoy it, so it's good to get chatting.
It's a pleasure. Obviously, last week we weren't here. We did arrange a show last week. Obviously, things turned up, things kind of come up, but again, the five leagues, they're just throwing up so many stories, so many goals, so many results. There's just a lot happening. It's been a very, very fast start.
It has been, and I think is touched on a little bit. You've also got midweek games in that. You get the
Yeah,
squad still trying to settle down. There's been a lot of upheaval. When you actually look through the leagues, I think there's been a few changes here and there, and also the relegation throws into that, and teams coming up and trying to settle. So I think it's set for an interesting sort of a first 6, 7 weeks of the season, always like that. Then it settles down a wee bit. Teams sort of maybe find a wee bit more of a rhythm, and then from that, it'll be interesting. I think it's going to be an interesting season in all leagues. I don't think there's any, maybe the fourth division, with Knightswood and what they've brought in and various bits and pieces, but apart from that, I think that any other league, it's quite difficult to pick where it's going to go. I think.
yeah, no, absolutely. And as I say, we'll get into all five leagues. Obviously, a lot of action over the weekend. We will start with obviously the Scottish Cup. Disappointing night for Bees. Obviously, they lost 3-1 at Bo'ness Athletic. Bees have been sublime over the past two seasons. But I can't help but think there'll be a little bit of disappointment for Straney the way that they've started. Obviously, they won opening day, won 3-0 against Shots, but disappointing result at home to Drumchapel last week, and then 2-0 up. I'm sure they were 2-0 up against Benburg. Benburg come back and drew two each, and then a cup exit. Not to say it's early panic stations, but you don't want to be in that position early on where kind of things are flat and they've got a massive game on Wednesday night where they go to Auchinleck. I think any defeat there, and I think there'll be a wee bit of unhappiness creeping in. Not that I'm saying like jobs are at risk or anything like that, but knowing Straney and knowing the high demands he has on himself and his players, that'll be a difficult one if they don't win on Wednesday.
I think we spoke about it on the show before when I've done this in the past. And goals win games. The boy Divers obviously went to St Carrick's. Replacing that's going to be massive. The boy, I'm sure was it Monk the year before, Aaron Monk, I think. And they
Fowler as
replaced
well.
Fowler, Josh Fowler, I think it was. And yeah, they had loads of goals. And we sort of I thought that last year when we done the prediction show, we went, oh, can they replace their goals? And the boy Diver went and done it.
Yeah.
Made a massive step up from Renfrew and sort of take the league by storm. But if you see it, they've played three, yeah, they scored 5 goals, but I think they'll be maybe disappointed as that. They could have been going right. Well, let's get into the big Scottish and get a run, and then obviously out at the first hurdle, and probably a game they'd have fancied themselves to win, to be honest. So it'd be a wee bit of a shock.
The one thing, obviously, is we're obviously talking about Kieran Diver leaving, and I do think Fraser Malcolm coming in for Carlo Locomotives is a good bit of business. I do think he's that sort of raw striker that I think Straney likes in terms of developing. Like that, Kieran was a bit like that. Like I thought some of Kieran's movement was terrific when I watched him for St Cardiff a couple of weeks ago, and that wasn't there when he's at Renfrew. The finishing was there, but just his movement and his intelligence was a lot better, and I think that is down to Straney. I think Straney does like a striker like bringing in a Fraser Malcolm. He's got a lot of good experience in there. I don't think it's panic stations by any stretch of the imagination. I just think there will be a massive disappointment, and that's only because I know just how high their hopes are.
Yeah, look, I'm sure they would have fancied themselves to go and win it, as you say. Straney has a certain way of playing, and a big physical striker fits that.
Mhm.
Fraser Malcolm ticked the boxes, and I don't doubt he'll make him chances. My boy scored goals where he's been. I'm sure he had a shot in the seniors with Clyde as well, and I think it'll be interesting. I think, as you say, it's when you look at that big league and if you look at the Premier Division,
Yeah,
there's no gimmies. You know what I mean? There's not. There's oh yeah, you look at sort of our two teams at the bottom, no wins as yet, but Darvel that had a Michael Oliver went in for Ashfield, and that's been a wee bit of a change, and boys may be getting used to it. Shots will always be hard to beat. Shots won't take. I know they're in that, and they'll fight for every point. I heard Maxie talking about their game on Saturday when he said the wind played, and it's weather with shots. We spoke about that last year, and in
yeah,
terms of they get to sort of a February time and they've only played half their games, and everybody else is 5 and 6 games ahead of them. So going up to shots is never ever easy. Weather can play its part as well. So, Beith, I'm gutted because you want to see all West teams do well. I know it's for the whole sort of a lowland league and down, and we want to see everybody do well, and you don't like them being paired so early with each other, and you want to showcase that there's talent out with that sort of a glass ceiling of the second division
yeah.
sort of a thing, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. But we'll move into the action over the weekend. Obviously, we'll kind of be looking back into late last week as well. Drumchapel are 4 wins from 4, plus 9 goal difference. They won 6-2 at home to Benburb on Saturday, and pretty much steamrolled them, to be honest. A double from Hopkirk, Idris McGarvey, Nicol Templeton. A brilliant mix in there of experience. They obviously have visions of being high up the ladder. Hopkirk's been a big player for them so far. I've been really impressed with the way they went about their business. I say go to Beath and win in their second game. Like looking at the results as well, 3-1 at home to Hurlford, 2-0 at home to Shotts. They've got a big game. They go to Lags. That's not going to be easy on Wednesday night. And then home to Auchinleck, home to Troon. I mean, the games will keep on coming, but so far so good for them, Chapel.
Listen, if you'd have said to Adam, you're going to win the first 4 games, you'd have snapped your hand off,
Of course it would,
100%.
definitely.
And even with the sort of a score lines in that division, you well know there's a step up in quality slightly going up, and you need to be ruthless and take your chances. But it looks as though they've done really, really good business. Sort of, as you say, maybe a good mix of experience and youth. And people, as much as I touched on, maybe no like going to shots. Not a lot of people like going to Drumchapel.
No.
No, a lot of people like it. Like it's obviously very enclosed with their netting and probably a wee hostile atmosphere in there. And if they keep winning games, more and more people go and watch, and it'll become harder and harder. But great start, 4 out of 4. They can't ask for any more.
No, absolutely not. Ben Burb, on the other hand, obviously 1 point for 4 games. We did speak about it at the prediction show. It might be a tough season. Obviously, a big point against Beath, but they'll probably be disappointed where they are at the moment. But again, it's still early days. Other game, really eye-catching game, obviously, between St Cadoc's and Clydebank. A goal worthy of winning any game from Lee Gallagher. 1-0 away win for Clydebank, and they're obviously level with Drumchapel after 4 games. They've not been as kind of clinical, obviously, but they're 3 out of 3 away from home and beat Pollock 2-1 last weekend as well. Clydebank, they've been very, very solid so far, and 4 wins out of 4, and Moff would have snapped your hand off for that as well.
Yeah, well, it's always been that thing. When will Clydebank go back? That's been they've had that target on their back for everybody,
Mm-hmm.
for whether it's their fans or their social media, and they believe they're a big club and they were a big club and they want to get back to there. But it's a great start because they've not been great starters, if memory
No,
serves me
they
right, in the
haven't. No. I
years
remember a couple of years
in the
ago
years
going to
gone
Troon,
past.
going to watch them against Troon. I think it was maybe second, third game, and they lost 3-1. And you just felt there was an atmosphere. I stood in the Clydebank end for the second half, and you just felt this atmosphere because we're 1-0 up
Yeah.
at half time, and the difference now, obviously, winning their first 4 games. It is obviously an intense fan base where they do want that success. They're kind of used to. There's a lot of them there that are used to kind of the old school success that they had, and they want to get back to that, and this is their opportunity. But it's also such a tough league, and we spoke about it a lot. You need that fast start, and to have 3 away games in your first 4 and win them all, massive.
Yeah, it stands in a good stead going forward because obviously at one point they're going to have a run of home games. I know there's been talk. I was talking to Stuart Maxwell the other week, and he said that he felt Paul just didn't turn up against them. There wasn't much in it. I think it was a 2-1 game, but he says they hit the post and Clydebank scored in off the post and Paul hit the post and it goes the other way. And fine margins in that league, but look, 12 points. I wait St Cadoc's, who another one that have recruited well again. I tipped them to go down last year, I'm sure, when I done your show.
Right,
But I just thought Martin, he came down and didn't maybe understand the level when he came back to East Kilbride, and then from that they sort of have done well, really well throughout the season, and they were also looking to kick on as well. So that's it was a big game quite early in the season. I know St Cadoc's have obviously only won one out of the last 1 out of 4 in the league so far, which has not been a great start for them either. So it'll be interesting. It will be interesting, but Clydebank, same as Drumchat won it. Your first 4 games, you go and win them. They're delighting.
Another side that have been quite impressive so far, obviously, are Auchinleck, and they're just doing what they usually do. But this time last year, obviously, the start was pretty shambolic, to be honest, and they obviously had a massive resurgence towards the kind of second part of the season. It took them on to finish second. This time it's different. They've had that start. They've beat Darvel opening day. They scored a last minute winner against Cumnock, which again will have done massive boost for their confidence. Go to Hurlford, another tough place, win 2-0. And the way that Auchinleck just go about their business, there's not a lot of pressure on them, and they just do their job. And again, 10 points for 4 games, they'll be thrilled with that, because I think they did 2 points after 4 games last season, finished second. That's 8 points gained already. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think they're the same in terms of, I think last year we spoke about it at the start of the season, there was a wee bit of we always said that when Tucker, he gets to the end of that cycle, and the cycle maybe took 6 months last year to start. By the time the new players come in and settled, but now they've had 6 months under their belt. He's no one for signing 10, 11 players in a summer. He's probably brought in 1 or 2 just to tweak it here or there, and maybe reaping the rewards with a very, very good start with 10 points with sort of a 4 games still undefeated. Yes, they've had a draw on that, but like anybody in that league can beat anybody. So getting that 1 point could be vital, sort of towards the tail end as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. You obviously mentioned Max at Pollock, and the classic thing of obviously Pollock, we didn't really know where they were at in terms of recruitment. I think the squad looks pretty solid, to be honest. I don't know whether it's challenging, but it's certainly not where I think a few people had them, which was bottom 3, which didn't see at all. 1-0 away at Shotts, Forrester with a goal. 9 points for 4 games. Maxey will be fairly happy, as you say. Obviously, the only flaw is the Clydebank result, but they've been fairly good so far.
Yeah, look, it's about consistency for Stuart, I think, and for his team. Obviously, they've had, as we've seen it, it was like sort of a fire sale, and I can only surmise that was you need to get the budget down, and the
Yeah.
budget's too high, and they've had to go through that, and sort of it's not the easiest league to do a rebuild in, when everybody's sort of got earmarked for this and that. So look, 9 points, 3 games. He says himself the Clydebank game he didn't feel he turned up. So from that, at least he was honest enough to say that. So he's probably sitting at a wee grin at the moment, going, right, well, I've got 9 points. Let's see what takes me next. I don't know who they've got midweek, but I think it's tough. I think is it St Cadoc's midweek?
They have St Cadoc's at home, yeah, and then
St Cadoc's.
Home to Johnson. So it's 2 tough home games coming up.
Two tough games coming up. One's at Pollock will still fancy Celtic sort of a win. Even St Cadoc's, as we said, they've no degree
I
so
think
far.
there's a
They've won
part of
before.
Maxey that will prefer that though. Like, not a lot. Like last season, obviously we had them quite high. Like this season, I'm not even sure we really mentioned them in the preview, but I think there's a part of Maxey and a lot of people at Pollock will be after the kind of the way it turned out last season, and they'll be quite happy with that. Just go under the radar. They still have the squad to give anybody a tough game. I do think they'll be fine. Like I do think they'll be more than solid.
I think personally they'll finish in the top 5 or 6. They'll be in the top half of the table. I think they'll be
I think
comfortable.
so, yeah.
They'll win some games. There'll be ones that they'll get to the end of the season and you'll look at it and go, maybe should have took other points there and there. But I've got no doubt in my mind that Paul will not be near the bottom. It won't be.
Obviously, Johnson Borough came into the season with a lot of chat behind them. Absolutely, of course they would have,
Yeah.
and they've been fairly fine so far. Obviously, unbeaten after 4 games. Obviously, 2 draws in their opening games, 0-0 at Lags, and then 1-1 at home to Auchinleck. Obviously, the tackle saw around the world. I think it was even covered in an American channel. I think obviously I don't know if you've seen it.
Yeah,
Don't
it's a red all day.
It's bad, isn't it? It's not the best, and
It's not the
I loved it as well. And I think it's a perfect summary of this level. Tucker with the clipboard is just a picture of this level, and it's just classic Tucker, but brilliant. Yeah, but they've been. I spoke to a few people at Glenafton on last Saturday, and they said there were times where Johnson just looked excellent, and obviously scored 4 goals that day. Obviously, Jordan Moore scored a hat trick as well. 3-0 home win over Troon, who have been quite good so far. Obviously, they had a really good result against Darvel. Troon, obviously, no mugs at all. They obviously beat St Cadoc's. Johnson, though, like, you look at the squad, you look at the players that are scoring, like MacKay, 3 new signings in the score sheet. MacKay, Aaron Mason, Daniel O'Neill, Jordan Moore scoring a hat trick. They've just got so much depth, and a lot of the chat we had at the start of the season was, will Murdy find a way to make it click? It's early days to say that, but the one thing that jumps out is they've only conceded 1 goal and scored 8. Like
that's massive, isn't it? Let's
yeah,
face it, if you keep clean sheets in that league, with the quality opposition you come up against and wide areas and forwards, all in the league, and other teams have all got that. But if you're keeping clean sheets in that league, they're doing something right. They're doing something right. He's obviously maybe worked in the pre-season. Right, we're going to work and build for the back. And when he went in there, when he went to Johnson, I think they'd signed a couple already for Pollock under Jamie McKim. So from that, he already went new, and they maybe had an idea how they wanted to work
yeah,
in various bits and pieces, which maybe helps. You know what I mean? Because last year, all right, we all said that they had to get promoted, and then Disney looking great, and then Murdy went in and sort of steered the ship forward and got them up, which is fine. And then I've knew Murdy for a long time. He'll try and do things right. He tries to play football right.
yeah.
Normally, he does. In fairness, whether Johnson Burroughs Park lets you do that, or if there's a lot of work done, then that's another thing. But look, if you look at Johnson Borough and just getting promoted, sitting fifth in the league, 2-2, you take that, you're not losing games, you're picking up points, you're not getting beat. It breeds confidence to then go forward and forward.
And obviously the next 4 games as well. Away to Gartcairn on Wednesday, away to Pollock on Saturday, then home to Clydebank and home to St Cadoc's. They're 4 massive games for them. Like the
Yeah,
games, like that's where they'll be tested. They will be tested again. Like Troon, obviously, really good start for them, and they will be. I think Jimmy would have bit your hand off for 6 points with 4 games, especially the way he got them at St Cadoc's and Darvel.
yeah,
But like Johnson, obviously, like, they're going to have a lot of games coming up, and it is just there's more. There probably is more hype on them than any other side in the league, based with the simple reason of they've signed massive players and they've signed a lot of players. They've signed players who know the level, and they've signed players who are coming in from Champions League. Do you know what I mean? Like Scotland internationals, Northern Irish internationals, who are coming in, and they're going to have a lot of chat behind them, and we just see how it goes. But very, very solid start so far. Cumnock have been fairly interesting as well to follow. They won 3-0 at home to Glenafton. Cumnock, obviously, I really thought their business over the summer was really, really good. 1-0 away to Benburb, then 2 defeats at the home defeat for Lags. I heard it was just a really bad day for Cumnock, and Lags were excellent. Difficult result against Auchinleck, and then beating other rivals Glenafton on Saturday. They've got a lot of talent, Cumnock. It is just a case of, is it going to gel? Like Dykes, McKenzie, or that's, I mean, your front three all scoring. All reports they were good on Saturday, and you look at the side they have, they'll be there. It's just how consistent are they going to be?
Yeah. I think they fall into the bracket of the teams in that league that have got players that can play at that level, really, really good players, and they have to just consistency. It's about getting consistency, because they had that, didn't they? Obviously, Craig and that were there last year, and then it didn't really work out, and then Murdy went in for a short spell, and that sort of didn't really go well, and then various bits and pieces. So,
Mm-hmm.
look, they've maybe taken the bones out of it a wee bit, stepped it back, as you said, recruited quite well, scoring goals, which is massive as well. And sort of had a couple of big games coming up as well. And it's obviously that there's parts, a nice big Astro, and they can get the ball down and they can play it about, which is always good. But Glenafton sort of struggled last year, didn't they, for a wee bit, and it didn't look as though they were going to stay up. And then even at the end, they've taken 6 points through 4 games. They'd have probably been relatively happy still with
They
their
had an
start.
excellent start. Like So, like, I mean, I was at Glenafton's first game, and obviously the chat was that I'd said to go down. They would go down, and I said to Ryan, and the video was there. I said to Ryan, I says, put that in the changing room because that's what I want, and we'll get into that in a couple of teams later on who have exceeded expectations already. Like,
Yeah.
but just in terms of Glenafton, what I quite like about them is Ryan knows the way he wants to set up, and I think there's a lot of pride to take from that. They're going to have difficult days, like we know that they're going to have
Yeah.
days where they'll win, they'll pick up huge results where they're least fancied, and then like they're going to have difficult days. Like Cumnock and Johnson losing the way they have to Cumnock and Johnson is no shame, by the way. Like these are two really
No.
good sides, but they have had a really good start, and again, I would say very similar. I think Ryan would have taken 6 points all day in the first four games because, like, looking on paper, they're as tough as they get. Like, do you know what I mean? St. Cadoc's at home, Darvel away, Johnson away, Johnson at home, Cumnock away.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
not
As we
easy.
said,
Six
no.
points is massive for them there.
No. As you say, there's no easy games. A couple of wins to boost the confidence. Yeah, they went to Cumnock, and obviously it didn't turn out great for them. But as you say, Cumnock could do that to anybody in that league.
Mhm.
Cumnock turn up and they play the way they can play. They can beat anybody. So, as I say, Glenafton, as you say, got a big game. They've got good points on the board, and they'll look for a couple of try and get the next one, try and win the next one, and get on to 9, and then just try and create a wee gap. Okay, obviously the couple of teams, unfortunately, that are struggling a wee bit at the bottom, but that's what we try to do.
Yeah,
As you say,
absolutely.
if it's a changing room moment, then and they put it up, and that gives them sort of a wee bit of extra incentive, then
I've
so
said
be it.
that.
Then
I've
great.
said that as well. I want sides to do that. Whatever we word about lags before we talk about the final game. Obviously, 5 points for the three games. Obviously, they didn't play because of Bees. The 2-0 and a 3-1 away from home. Like that's Arnie in a nutshell, isn't it? Just so solid, and then probably a lot of people would have fancied Cumnock to beat them, and they go and win 3-1. And I just want to single out Will Sewell as well. 3 goals they've scored this season, all three of them Will Sewell. He's going to be so massive, so key for them this season.
Yeah, because they obviously went through a sticky patch when he left, and then he came back, and it sort of taken them away from the bottom of the league, and because it didn't look great at points when he was away, and where were the goals going to come from, and then obviously comes back in, scores goals, and as you say, they're going to be hard to beat, and the boy scores goals.
Mm.
So if you can stay, if you can keep the ball out of that side, we all know it, innit? There's so many players in that top division that only need one chance. He's certainly one of them. He's up there with the top ones in the league for goals. So if they can keep it tight at the back and create that odd one chance, that he'll take it, no bother at all.
Obviously, the final game, Darvel 2, Gartcairn 4. I think there was a lot of interest in this game. Obviously, a lot of ex Darvel players playing for Gartcairn. Obviously, Ferguson and McShane both scoring. Darvel are very simply just going through a transition. Mick is obviously, I think Mick's a terrific coach. I think we all thought it would take a bit of time for it to gel. Four defeats of four. Obviously, I know Mick will be disappointed with that, but I'm more than confident they'll be able to get it right. I think it will just take a bit of time, just gelling. There's a lot of transition in the squad as well. And the one thing at Darvel is that the past few seasons there was a lot of hope that they could be at the top end. There was a lot of success. There was obviously massive results against top sides. There was cup wins. There's been a lot of success there, and everybody must know that it's not going to be that way for a couple of years. It's going to take a bit of time to get back to that, and this is the early point of that transition for me. Like the squad looks pretty good. It will take time to gel, and they've got the right guy, and I just think it is going to take a bit of time.
Yeah, well, if you think about it and you talk about a transition, so if you look at Darvel, obviously everybody, the Aberdeen game and then the Falkirk game after that, many players are probably left in that squad.
I
You're
don't
only
think
talking that was only 18, maybe 18 months ago max.
I don't think there's any.
So,
I think there's maybe off the top of my head. I can't think of them, to be honest.
so there's a massive transition that
Yeah.
Michael's went in there. Obviously, a few boys left, they went to Gartcairn, who, yeah, Gartcairn won Saturday, but it's not a great start for them.
Hmm.
One win out of 4, beating Darvel, who's no won any, and it's in a bit of transition to, as you say, Ferguson played at a higher level. He went East, they must have brought him back to East Bride. McShane sort of played at a good level. They were expected when Orion came in last year to sort of get sort of what Johnson's done. Right, you'll mould the team this year. Next year we'll hit the ground running, and we'll brought in big players, and we'll go and try and make a right good fist of this league. And then, as I say, yeah, I know it was 4-2 on the day, but that could have probably went either way. I didn't see the game, but I don't know how the scoring went. But Gareth Cairn could have been sitting sort of even be 1 point before, and that's not a great start for them. I'm not saying that I worry for them or anything because they've got really, really big players, but it's probably not the start that they were expecting at 3 points after 4 games.
You brought up something interesting. Jordan Allen is the only player that I think is still in the squad, and Jordan Allen was a sub that game, and he was a sub on Saturday. So
yeah.
You know what I mean? Massive transition, and you can see that. You can see looking at the squad. It's like there's a lot of under-20s in there. There's a lot of players who, I mean, Regan Aitken was at Gareth Cairn, like Declan McDonald and Aaron Black have come in for Ben Bird, Murphy for Glenafton. It's a
I think
squad.
that's Aaron Black went back, didn't he? Because I
He
think
was at
Michael
Darvel.
had him originally.
I think he had him on loan. Yeah,
And then he went in, he had
yeah,
him, and then he went on loan to the Benz, and then he took him, and then he's been back there. So Michael's another one. As I say, I know it's the sort of he's went the same route as sort of Michael, who sort of had all his success.
yeah.
He tries to play the right way. He'll try and do things. As I say, look, I like to see that. Look, I came for the amateurs myself. I like to see these managers do really, really well. I hope they turn it around. They pick up.
Yeah,
They will win games the same as shots, like we spoke
yeah,
about John up at shots. They will win games just when they get it, and can you get that wee bounce and from that a wee bit of momentum, and boys that are maybe been in and out, and Michael's taking them down there, and they understand that level. Maybe takes a couple of games, but hopefully it's never nice to see that. To be honest, teams not picking up points and losing every week. It's never nice. It doesn't matter what level it's at. So it's one of them. Everybody's now got right. I don't want their first point to come against us, so that adds a bit of pressure.
yeah.
We don't let shots first 3 points or point come against us, because all you need sometimes is 1 point, and you can go on a wee run. Hopefully,
Yeah,
especially
absolutely.
for Michael's sake.
Yes, but a big result for Gatkin as well. A result they probably needed as well, just to get that confidence. And I think it would have
Oh,
been
100%.
bittersweet for Scott and Ian to score as well at Darvel.
Yeah.
Into the first division though, the clash was Rutherglen 3, Atherley 2. Rutherglen go top of the table. Jarvie, McElveen and McManus. Really interesting game, Bill reports. Rutherglen though, I really like the job Joe's done there. Like I think they've been very, very good. And not to say that they're favourites already, but I do think that Rutherglen and Atherley they'll both be quite high on the list this season. Just what I've seen so far.
Yeah, I certainly think so. I would fancy Atherley to bounce right back up. I'm actually quite surprised at the score, because it's two big sides. And as you say, Joe does what Joe does. He done well last year. People didn't fancy him to do really well when sort of first took over, and he steadied the ship. McElveen seemed to score goals. I think that's the boy Jack who he had before, and he went to Garth Cairn and then back. And McManus was at Ashfield who scored goals, and they've all scored goals. If you see that, I played 4 games, scored 13 goals. So they're on. They're going to be hard to beat. If you keep scoring goals all the time, yes, you want to tighten up a wee bit at the back, but I think obviously Athlete, I know some of the boys left, but they retained a large sort of a section of their team. Michael McNeil, Jordan Layden, Lee Ralston. They brought in young Aaron Healy, come back for Queen's Park, wee Tams there. It's a Premier League squad they've got.
Yeah.
It has to go up. There's no if, buts, or maybe. Athlete have to go up.
Yeah, and they have looked pretty good so far. As I say, 3 wins for 3 before they played Rutherglen. Petershill have been good as well. Obviously, they won 3-1 at Ardrossan. Young Adam and Cassels with the goals. Petershill have been very, very good so far. Like, looking at their results, their first 4 games have been away from home. They haven't played at home yet. 5-1 away at Meadow, 3-1 away at Thornleywood. Obviously, the disappointment at St Roch's last week, and then beating Ardrossan 3-1. Petershill are they're solid, and we saw that last season. Like the problem was is that they were solid too early, and they just teams caught up on them. But do you know what I mean? Like that's just what they do.
No, look, McNeil's up there, and Craig Palmer's obviously in there as well, helping them. Craig's got his own ideas, and he like to play a certain way as well. But I'd imagine he's still a big MacKay and stuff at the back, and they'll be hard to beat. They'll be hard to beat, and he's a threat at both ends as well. So Look, it's good to see them. Obviously, playing away from home must be hard as well for them. That can't be easy. So they're going to get that on the flip side when I take it their part must be getting relayed or something's happening there, and
Yeah,
that's why they're playing away from home. So when that happens, then they're going to have a run of home games, and if they get momentum at home and they start playing games, then it'll be hard to stop. As I say, like we said about the other league, if you look at it, there's a lot of Premier League teams within that league. Petershill fancy themselves to be a Premier League team.
yeah,
They're a bit, but there's loads of them in there. Your Rob Roy's and various bits and pieces, and Glencairn that have maybe been out it now for a couple of years just for it, but they still believe they're a big side. St Roch's are well supported. You've got Kilwinning, you've got Irvine Meadow. It's a really, really tough league. Really, on paper, if you look at that before a ball was kicked, it's hard to pick who would win or go down, to be
yeah.
honest.
Yeah, no, absolutely. St Roch's obviously they've been pretty good as well. Obviously 3 wins before they lost opening day to Atherley, but they've picked up pretty well since then. 3 home wins. Obviously beating Petershill and Irvine Meadow. St Roch's, by all reports, I looked at a lot of people were saying about Meadow that they're unlucky. Meadow are probably in a similar boat to Darvel, where young coach, somebody that knows the club, somebody that's got an experience, what knows what they want. It's going to take time. This league is not the place you want to be though if you're needing time because it is just so cutthroat. But Ben knows the club and he's recruited well. I think he'll get the time. I wouldn't be panicking if I was at Irvine Meadow just now because it will just. I mean, they'll click eventually. I think.
I think that's the thing. I think he has to. It's about he's going to get the time and he's not looking over his shoulder so he can relax. By all accords, I think Meadow got a man sent off and
I
St Roch
think they
scored a very
did.
late
Yeah,
goal, and it was
yeah. I
a
think
very
you're
late
right.
goal, I think. So, as I say, St Roch's be going there for young boys as well. Probably going there, probably well supported. St Roch's maybe a bit intimidating,
I think
take
it
him a
was
wee
Paul
bit of
Payne that
time
gets
to.
sent off as well. I think.
So probably our most experienced player
Yeah,
as well. So he's obviously get wound up for whatever reason. But from that, as I say, St Roch's will be a hard place to go all season.
yeah. No,
They'll go and look. Sometimes it's not the worst thing. And they've had a sort of a gang mentality over the years, and they'll they'll chase every ball down. They'll chase lost causes. They'll put balls into the box. They'll put pressure on. But look, they're doing well. They're doing well. Ian's another one, obviously taking a step up last year, and they were so inconsistent last year. Wasn't it? It was one win, one draw, one defeat, one win, one. And so they're hoping to kick on. And if you see 3 wins out of 4, it's not the worst of starts. Arthur in that, who sort of after keeping everybody, as I say, in a really, really strong squad, they'd have still fancied themselves going there. But I'm sure they get a man sent off very early in that St Roch's in that opening game of the season. I'm sure
yeah.
somebody gets sent off quite early. And Arthur, I think, run out 3-1 winners or 3-0 winners, I
It
think.
was
But
3-0. Yeah,
obviously, when you're starting to lose players, going to places like Arthur, it's very, very tough. So discipline will be key for St Roch's, but there'll be many people who go to the Rock and get points.
no, absolutely not. Cumbernauld 4-0 win at Blantyre. Cumbernauld obviously like a lot of people thought they would be where they are just now. Like, you know, what I mean? They've been very solid. That was a first clean sheet in 4 games actually, but they obviously beat Rob Roy last week. 2-2 draws before that, and then a 4-0 win at Blantyre. John Cunningham with a double. Cumbernauld have been under the radar so far.
Yes, they have been. I was talking to the boys that played in the Cumbernauld and Villa Clyde game, and a lot of them thought that Cumbernauld shaded it and they maybe should have won it on the day. And when it's a draw, you know yourself, it can go either way, a mistake or anything. But no, look, Jamie and Dolzy, they've recruited quite well. Everything's under the radar. It's probably what they like as well. They're maybe used to that a wee bit at Thornywood and sort of a Royal Albert and various places before that, rather than being at we're the big hitters.
Mm-hmm.
I feel sorry for Blantyre. Obviously, John Gibson left and
It's a
the
very tough
team sort of
situation. Yeah.
yeah, they didn't have the greatest of pre-season, and then everybody obviously has seen it well documented. They appointed a manager, then that didn't really work out, and then Ross came in very late, and they're still trying to sign loads of bodies at the moment. I think maybe it'll settle down, hopefully for Ross.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a tough start for them, obviously. 10 goals, minus 10 goals, only scored 2, 4 games gone. Already looks as though, unfortunately, could be a long season in
Yeah.
Victoria Park.
Yeah, it does
Unfortunately.
look pretty bleak so far. But again, I really like Ross, and I really hope he gets the tools to kick on. And again, it maybe is just a case of that it's maybe going to be a tough season and a tough league. But if you were looking at a goalless draw this weekend in this league, Rob Roy Kilburney would probably have been at, because I think these are two very even sides, two sides that have started really well, but I don't think either would have wanted to get beat. And I think both sides will be quite happy where they are at this point.
Yeah, possibly. Obviously, John left Blanter, and that sort of was the start of the sort of a demise there, which he took some players, then some, and that, and various bits and pieces went to Cambuslang. And Rob Roy will have a wee slight concern. I think John Gibson's very, very good. Said this to people I know. I think he overachieved at Blanter, in my opinion, for
Right.
what he had. I thought they were always hard to beat. Every year his best players seemed to get sold or taken away from him, and they were still there or thereabouts, and they were obviously pushing for promotion. And I don't mean himself he overachieved, just that everything was kept getting taken away with him, but he still maintained a very, very good squad and a very, very good structure. And I think he will get it right at Rob Roy. But the big concern seems to be it might change for them is they've only scored 3 goals in 4 games.
Mm-hmm.
That'll be a slight worry. That will be a wee worry for John. But I fully believe that they will click into gear and they'll be within the top, maybe top 3 to sort of go pushing towards that league.
Yeah, absolutely. And a side that I thought coming into the season would struggle to score goals, but I mean, so far they've really proved me wrong. And again, I'm willing to own it. Renfrew 5, Thornleywood 1, Harwood with a double, Gillespie, Morton, and an own goal. Renfrew, again, what a result that is. Thornleywood, I think it was a fairly decent start. Like, they were going in this in 6 points, but what a performance for Renfrew.
Oh, it's goals, and I did see that a wee bit. I'm sure somebody said to me that our team's no goals in them, and we sort of had a wee chuckle. But look, they were another one that lost sort of a divers went, and how do you replace them?
Yeah,
And but goals are hard. You can only call it as you see it.
yeah.
There's no malice in when we do these things. You're only giving your opinion. Unfortunately, some people take homage to it and don't really like them, and there's nothing you can do. But
As I say,
I
if
think
it goes on the dressing room, I'm happy. Yeah, it's cool. Again, I'm willing to admit, so I didn't see Renfrew being scoring 10 goals in the first 4 games. Like, I really didn't.
no, well, look, they look as so. I know Tottenham scored 1, but if you look at their games, they've played 4, scored 10, a big reply that week, and conceded 6. So it might be one of them that their games are going to be quite open this year,
Yeah,
to be honest, and they'll win the odd one, maybe a 3-2 or a 4-3, and they'll maybe lose the other one. But for them, I think if they can do that, but even the 4-3 ones end up 3 each, or they get a wee point out it here or there, then they'll be absolutely fine.
yeah, absolutely. Maybole, obviously, they've been quite good so far. They won 3-2 at Ashfield. Miller with a double, McCracken with a goal. Maybole, 6 points with 4 games. I think everybody there will be quite happy with that. Ashfield, on the other hand, though, obviously a team very much in transition. Maybole, though, under the radar.
Yeah, under the radar once again. And if you look at them, as you say, that they've obviously 4 games, 6 points, but they're another one that they scored 11, conceded 10.
Yeah.
They're going to be another one that I think it's if you're allowed to bet, get both teams to score. So look, Mabel Ashfield's it's another one, isn't it? Unfortunately, like sort of a Blantyre in that league where sort of the teams went away and it's going to be
Yeah.
a rebuilding job, and he lost a lot of goals. If you think of the boys that left him, like Bobby Barr left and
Johnny
various
Black
bits
as
and
well.
pieces.
Johnny Black's made a Darvel with Sean Slavin as well, got to St Roch's. Like,
Yeah,
key
so
players.
that was a lot of their goals. Yeah, the centre half, I'm sure went to Atherley as well, who was always good for a goal, for set pieces
Yeah.
as well. So I think that'll be it's another tough season. Big Neil's in there, who obviously he got the job. He knows what he's maybe up against, and yeah, could be another tough season, unfortunately, for Ashfield.
If we look,
Unfortunately, they still know what their home in, they play out at Easter House at Stepford.
yeah.
Um, but look, hopefully, I know they've got a very good 20s. I know the two boys, young Peter and Jake, that take the Ashfield 20s, and they seem to get a lot of good boys going in, and they're always praising that there's a lot of boys for the 20s in the first team. So
Yeah.
sometimes one step back, they consolidate, then maybe go forward. So
Yeah,
time will
final
tell.
result in the first division, Vale of Clyde 1, Cowan 1. I think both sides will be fairly content where they are just now. Like, not
Yeah,
positive record so far. It's not bad. It's not bad. Probably not great, but not terrible either.
no, I feel like Clyde, as I say, look, that's a club's very, very dear to me. The evergreen Kevin Turner scores again. If you get
Yeah.
Kevin Turner on his days, he's one of the best in that division. I've got a lot of time for the boys at Villa Clyde, John and all the committee. I wish them really, really well. As I say, I know they had a draw with Cumbernauld and another draw there, and then they had a win first opening day. I think they beat Blantyre, and then they've also lost one as well. Not sure who they lost to. But look, 5 points. 5 points in 4 games, only one defeat in the first four. You take the positive from it. Yeah, I think they've got a toughie tomorrow or Wednesday. I think they go to Atherley, which will be really, really tough. But then from that, I want them to do well. I've still got a lot of friends here.
Yeah.
I'll speak to some of the boys that play regularly. And I think if you say to sort of the club, you're going to finish 13th this year, I think they snap their hand off.
Absolutely, absolutely. Into the second division, there's no doubt. I think the story of this division so far has been Muirkirk. 12 points from 4 games and a 7-1 home victory over Craigmark on Saturday. There will be a special interview with Muirkirk's manager Ross Kuzik on our Patreon later on this week, so stay tuned for that. But Muirkirk, what a start!
What a start. 16 goals, 4 games, average of 4 goals a game. I think I might be wrong, but I think Muirkirk, the boy actually came in for Benburn 20s, I think, last year.
Yeah.
And he brought his team with him, or a high percentage of his team, which they managed to stay up last year when people sort of, myself included, maybe
I
tipping it go
think I
down.
think it was one of the jobs in the West last season, the job he did. Like,
Yeah,
really.
100%. Taking team of young boys, went in there, worked on them all. They've got a year under their belt. By God, nobody will fancy that. You know what I mean? 12 points, only 100%. I know other teams have not been beat in the league, but 12 points out of 4 games, 16 goals, 5 against. Yeah. Craig Mark, on the other hand, it looks like another
It's a difficult one.
tough
I
season.
do feel for him. There's obviously been a lot of changes there over the summer.
Yeah.
Like, I really hope that they can figure it out. It might just be a case of it's maybe too late already this season, but I really hope Ian gets the time. Other kind of impressive results in here, obviously. Kilsyth 3, Whitlets 3, thrilling game there on Saturday. Kilsyth, I think I really like the job that Kevin Walsh has done there so far. Whitlets, I think, will be good as well. They've scored 16 goals. They've been pretty impressive as well. And overall, like, their two sides will be relatively happy where they're at just now.
Yeah, we'll decide that came over from Carlo last year when they were sort of a hit and miss. I think they still had an outside chance of promotion and then, but there was maybe a wee bit of turmoil in it and there were a couple of people left and other people went in and then, yeah, look, they've had a fantastic start, sitting second to one of the only other team in the league that's sort of out with Muirkirk that's undefeated. So they'd have taken it 10 points, 4 games. Whitlets is another one, sort of I think they went through a wee period where they lost a few players, but while they've come back now, they had a really, really good side. The Isaac Cares and various bits and pieces were really good in that division, and Boyd up front, and then I think Noreen sort of went away, and Whitlet struggled a wee bit last year for long periods,
Most
but
of them are
seemed
back
to,
now, ball reports.
yeah.
So,
So
like,
they've sort of built the team for 2 years ago, which was very successful, and they knew how to play. They're
yeah.
obviously away from Dan Park into a big Astro now, maybe taking them a wee bit of time to
Mhm.
adjust. So they'll be another one this year. I think it'll be hard to beat, and they'll sort of be fancying their chances, stay under the radar and go and win games.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we've got to give a shout out though to the job that John Fallon's done so far at St Anthony's. Like, we looked at St Anthony's at the start of the season and said that's a shambles. Like, that was, we remember saying it off air. Like, that looks chaotic, and what a job he's done getting in there. 3 wins for his first 4 games. Like, no, not in my wildest dreams did I see them finishing fourth, and 1 and 5 4 at Canvas Lang with 5 different goal scorers. I mean, very, very smart job so far.
Oh, absolutely fantastic. By all cause, I know I speak to Danny either, and who some an opportunity I had to go and join him at the start of the year, and didn't think it was right for me. And I think some of the boys had said they were going to leave and move on, and it left St Anthony's in a bit of a bad way. And then, well, Danny then gets relieved of his duties or decides his time's up, and I think the boys then came back. The big boy Mulhern up front, I think
Mulleney's
it's
still there,
Mulhern. He's back, but I don't think he'd played like any of the
I think Warren
pre-season.
Omar's back as well because he scored. They're getting the
Yeah,
players back that you would kind of think of when you think of St Anthony's.
well, he left last year, didn't he? They call him Gio, didn't he? He
He
left
went to
last year.
Troon. I think Troon now.
He went to Cumbernauld for a bit.
Cumbernauld first, aye.
Cumbernauld first, and then I think he was meant to go to Troon this summer. And he was away training with them, and so St Anthony's were trying to get players in, and it sort of wasn't really working. And but listen, he's went in there. John Fallon's went in there, and absolutely, I did not see it. To be honest, I'll be
Neither.
100%. I didn't see it. I think they were 2-0 up, and then went 4-3 down or something, then scored 2 late goals. But look, great start. Canvas Lang will be maybe kicking herself as well because they'd have fancied herself to come down and go right back up. Paul normally does that, doesn't he? Goes down, takes a wee deep breath and a wee reset, and sort of looks to go sort of right back up. And they'd have thought, I think there was maybe 4-3 up with 10 or something to go. They'd probably say, right, see you at the game. No being the best, but we'll take it. And then obviously St Anthony's with two. But I'm sure it was a wee bit late goals, sort of wins the game, But it'll be interesting, as I say, like Felix and Martin and the boys at St Anthony's. You couldn't meet nicer people, you know what I mean? So you want them to do well. You want them to do.
Obviously, other results: Larkhall 1-2-1 at home to Bellshill. They're sitting in third in the table with 9 points. Caledonian 4-1 away to fourth. Conor McAteer with a hat trick. Big result for Bonnet, 1-0 away at Neilston. There a goal from Kelly. And 2 Desmonds, Maryhill 2, Les Mahego 2. And if you saw the first edition of the Saturday Fivefold in association with our partners at McBookie, you'll have known that my fivefold was done by a late Yoker goal in a 2-2 draw against Lanark. I had Lanark in my fivefold, the only team that didn't win. So that denied me a good start for the fivefold. But again, Caledonian, obviously, big result for them. Larkhall have been pretty good. Bonnet beating Neilston's a big result.
Yeah, I'm sure Neilston took, I think my memory, but I'm sure Neilston took a do in the first game.
They
And then
lost
had
6-1 on opening day, yeah.
Yeah, took a wee resurgence and they beat Bellshill, I think, who's another one that will be itching to get that first win, along with fourth and Craig Marks. But Bellshill's a strange one. They sort of, I know they lost their goalkeeper at obviously, Jai Hutchison, sort of retired, and I think he was a big presence for them, and they're sort of they've not the greatest of starts, sort of a 1 draw, 3 defeats. The boys will be working hard nearly in that to try and turn that around to get points on the board as quick as they can. Say Neilston, is it another one? It's maybe just a wee bit of turmoil, and sort of relegated, and then because when I seen that in the first day, I went, surely they're not going to go back to back, sort of. But then they sort of had a wee turnaround and a couple of wins that they looked okay. But as they say, they've 6 points, but it's the minus goal difference because of the original game. And then Bonington, obviously Ross was there, and who's now at Blantyre, and sort of I think that was a relatively young squad as well. So going to Neilston for them will give them sort of loads of encouragement. Les Mahego last year a very late push and ended up getting promoted. They've started not too bad, 7 points for sort of 2 wins, a draw and a defeat. So they'll be relatively happy with 7 points for their first 4 games also.
Yeah, absolutely. Just obviously kind of glossing over the third division as well. Thorn 3, Glasgow United 2. Thorn sit top of the table there. Lugar winning 2-1 at home to Fanart as well. Goals from Donnelly and Mackin. Friday night, Perthshire 1-0 at Glasgow Uni. Ardere 2-1 away win at Vale of Leven. 3-5-1 away to Girvan. Irvine with a double there. Dalry, big result for them. 3-1 away at Kilsyth Athletic. Greenock 3-0 away at Wishaw, and Irvine Victoria 3, Glenvale 3. You have to look at obviously 3, big result for them. 5-1 at Girvan. Thorn are top of the table. Perthshire are a side I wanted to discuss because Brad Rodden's playing for them. Like, he's a really talented player. To get him in's a massive, I think. And
Brad come from Alloa.
Yeah, looks like so. I must be.
Yeah, that's a good signing, I'm sure. Anton Byrne went there for Glasgow United, and they sort of have a wee. I spoke about St Rocks earlier on. Sometimes they have a wee core of mates. They all end up back together, and sometimes that wee Billy sort of what they call him Granda up there, don't they? That he's been at it for years, and he's sort of a one player comes and one player goes. But 9 points for the first three, and sorry, first four. Obviously, one defeat in that. But I think the interesting thing, I think looking at that, Thorn and Luger both promoted sides.
Yeah.
That are now sitting top of the table. And if you look at sort of a Clyde last year, back-to-back promotions, and sometimes you get a wee bounce at the bottom two leagues, and there's no really much between all the teams. It's about sort of a momentum and try to go forward. Obviously, big wins in there for Thrive. I touched on it before. I think it was a disgrace what happened to them last year. I do. Them not to get promoted was an absolute disgrace. What happened to them to go and 90, 89th minute or something, the game gets abandoned, and then go and play it on a Wednesday night. That was wrong. It was so wrong. What the league done what they thought was right. But obviously, Bells Hill, who have got mates that go up through that, and I'm delighted for them. So it's a hard one. But I think Thrive, and we've spoken about it before, their player pool's totally different to everybody else. Anybody that they bring in, we don't really, without being narrow-minded or anything, we don't really know them. If somebody goes to, like, we'll touch on the fourth division, the Knightswoods and various bits and pieces, you know, he played with them and you know a wee bit about them. But whereas a lot of Thrive players come from that division that you don't know, you don't know if they're getting anybody really. So that's hard. Dorai's a really, really good win.
I think Dorai, not two big results for them.
Wishaw as well, obviously relegated last year, 1 point. They've only played 3 games. I know there was a bit of turmoil, and they're obviously game in hand. Their game in hand's against Thrive, so it must have been down there, and they didn't want to let them have to travel midweek. But it was okay for Thrive to travel to play a league decider midweek.
Yeah.
That's fantastic, isn't it? So yeah, but another one, obviously Lee Morrison, left for Clyde this year, went to Wishaw, and I want Lee to do well. A lot of time for Lee, but as I say, it's been a wee bit of a tricky start for Wishaw, a team that they've got a lot of big players in their ranks, and they recruited, try to stay up last year, and they recruited quite heavily towards the sort of a tail end, and it still didn't work out. But that's not been a great start for them. Obviously, no a win. Obviously, Glasgow Uni, everybody knows about the Uni at this time of the year. You don't sort of know what team they've got yet, and there'll be a wee bit. A few people worried doing it Irvine as well. Only 1 point out of 4 for 4 games.
Yeah, you obviously mentioned the fourth division, and obviously Knightswood are leading the pack, 7-0 away at Giffnock. Darren Miller, Stramer, double, Coogans, Donaldson and Craig. I think we had a little bit of an inkling that Knightswood might be contenders this season, but 14 goals for 4 games. I'm not saying like one signing can totally change it, can transform your fortunes, but Darren Miller is way too good to be playing fourth division. But as you say, he obviously is connected to Knightswood. Like bringing him in instantly puts Knightswood up to the top of the pile for me in this league.
Yeah, and I think if you even look at the obviously Royal Albert, something's happening because they've only played 2 games, but I think it may be park issues. But
I think
if you look at Knightswood, if you even look at Knightswood though, and we talk about like Darren Miller and deliveries and various bits and pieces, Kenny Marshall, very, very experienced, Coogans, facing Rocks, you're 100% right. They shouldn't be playing in that division. They're still got qualities to be playing second, first. Some of them probably the Premier, but look, they are where they are. If they're going to roll up their sleeves and go and do it, but they've only lost 2 goals. Me speak about, you know what I mean. I don't know much about them, to be honest.
And just looking at the table, looking at the table as well. Obviously, Royal Albert have lost 4. The next is 6 with Eglinton and Saltcoats. Like already, you're seeing goals being shipped in this league. Like you're seeing a lot of goals being scored, and to be only conceded.
Royal Albert's only lost 4 because they've only played 2 games.
Exactly.
If they're, you know what I mean. So that can go. If you look at a BSC, hypothetically, it's shipped 20 in 4 games. So the thing is, looking at Knightswood, and if they stay like that, and some of their other mates will join, and I don't mean that to be bad, but I can see their scores staying like that for the season. Unfortunately, they just possess probably at some areas maybe just too much quality for some ones.
And I really like their manager as well. As I say, I've got to know Michael pretty well over the past few months, and I really like the vision he's got for the club. And Like they've obviously they had a bit of turmoil last season as well, and Michael went in there and really took over, and obviously they are beginning to find their groove, and like I hope they keep at it. Like, do you know what I mean? It's a nice club. They've always been good to us, so hopefully it does work out for them. Your old side Easterhouse obviously sitting in second along with Port Glasgow. Easterhouse won 3-2 at New Mains and Port Glasgow winning 4-0 at BSC. Like the two sides, I mean Easterhouse in particular, like they've been pretty solid as well.
Absolutely great start for them. I had actually not even noticed that until you say that. Absolutely great. Because look, we all know what happened, and then sort of I left and Boystead took over and still couldn't really get it right. And then the boys in there now, what's his name again? It escapes me. Is it Andy? Andy, yeah. Andy was a coach of the Clyde. I
Yeah,
think he's another one. Likes to play certain ways. By all accords, are doing well. But it's just fantastic. Look, I'm an Easter's boy. I always want him to
yeah,
do well. I want the club to go and sort of a kick on. I was playing at their park last week with the over 40s that I play every second Sunday, and their dugouts and that are getting in, their wee bits up for their stand, which is going to go in, and they've got everything in place. I just hope the right people stay involved and sort of makes these steps and leaps and bounds. And there's no reason that they can't go and do. If you look now, what you've sort of got at Gartcairn as a total facility, there's no way they can't do that. East House, they've now got the other big Astro, the five sides are in place, the sevens are in place. It's got everything that it needs to be a massive club in the East End. So hopefully they can keep going in the right way and they get it right.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
the big thing will happen down in that league, unfortunately. And you're hoping it doesn't happen. These is if Andy goes and wins the next 5 games, and then he's obviously, and if you look at some of the teams above that are maybe struggling a wee, like a budget at all, then sometimes that can happen. And sort of, like you said, make it turned a wee bit. But as I say, look, I'm delighted for them. Still know a lot of young boys that play there and speak to some of their dads and stuff, and they're delighted how it's going. So I'm hoping. I don't know. I think they play. I think they're at home this midweek. I think. I'm not even sure they've got, but I'm sure. In fact, they play West Park at home
Yeah,
midweek. I'm sure.
yeah, they do.
So I think that's tomorrow night. So hopefully they can go and get for me. They can go and get another 3 points, and they
Yeah,
can sort of keep going and going and going.
absolutely. Other three sides that won in the fourth, obviously Port Glasgow, good start for them so far. 3 wins before Kello Rovers 3, Eglinton 0, and Carluke 4-2 winners at Campbelltown. Obviously, these are three clubs that have obviously come down and are looking to get back up. That they'll be happy with that. And then you look at the kind of other games as well. East Kilbride Thistle 2, St Peters 2, Saltcoats. David Sawyer scoring a hat trick for them in a 3-3 draw with Rossvale, and West Bart 2, Royal Albert 2. A lot of big name clubs in this division. And like it does look, we said it in the start of this. We said at the start of the season, this looks a cracking league.
Yeah, it does, and as I say, it'll be about momentum. Delighted for Thomas. I know that he obviously wanted to go and win, and Eglinton getting beat off Kello's a wee bit surprised because I think Eglinton will do quite well.
Mm-hmm.
I also think I also think Saltcoats might do so quite well. Actually, I know people think I'm off my rocker a wee bit with that, but obviously the boy Wilson went in there
Yeah,
like tail end of last year, and it was all sort of up and down. And look, he's been at Ardrossan and he's been at some other big clubs. He was at Port Glasgow. You don't get a lot of jobs if you don't know what you're doing. And in that league, I think he'll get the time. I think Rossvale were 3-1 up at one point. I'm sure I've seen, and I think it's just a good result for them. They'll want to be higher, but like they've only lost 1-4. There'll be a one of them again with 2 draws. One against Rossvale, who play football the right way as well. They were unlucky last year not to get promoted. No, they're up there. They've only lost 1-4 as well. So as you say, it's another one in it. There's some big teams in that league now as well. Teams with sort of a lot of, I know it's not the juniors anymore, but when you look at sort of East Kilbride and Carluke and teams like that, New Mains, Hello, they're all old-fashioned junior teams for me. So that's going to happen. Obviously, East Kilbride, Conley scored. Is it Aaron? Was Aaron playing? Is
yeah.
he had
Aaron
to
played.
go on the
Aaron
boots?
played and
Is he
scored.
brilliant?
I think there was obviously
Um,
I think as well. I think John Dale's obviously helping Aaron out. I'm right in saying so. Obviously, there would have been a wee bit of a. That would have been an interesting game to be at actually to see what happened. But yeah, I mean, a lot of real interesting games this week, and the games keep on coming. Mark, as we know, obviously we've got a midweek full list of fixtures. Just some of the games that I think are interesting. Tuesday night, obviously, Clydebank, Darvel, you've got Maybole, Rutherglen. We mentioned Colwyn and Rob Roy. And obviously, we mentioned, Greenock, Irvine Vicks, Ross Vale, East Kilbride. Wednesday night, just a few games that I think could be unbelievable. Auchinleck, Beath, Gartcairn, Johnson. You've also got in the first division, Cumbernauld, Blantyre. Second division, I think one of the games could be St Anthony's Whitlets. You've got Bonnet and Yoker. Third division, you've got obviously Dilray Lugar, interesting game. Knightswood, Port Glasgow, St Peters, Eglinton. Just so many games keep on coming. Next week, obviously, there's not much league action. It's obviously the South Cup, but there will be a roundup on the channel coming up. Mark, obviously, very interesting to have your company as well. Can't thank you enough for joining me. It's going to be a fascinating season.
Yeah, it will be. As I say, as I said to you off air, it's hard. You go to a game, you think you're a grim reaper because you've lost 2 games, and it's horrible situation. But look, hopefully something maybe comes up that sort of that works for me and it works for a club, and we maybe get back in. But if not, I'll just do what you do now and probably pick a game on a Saturday and go. All right, I'm going to go and see that, and that's local. I'm quite fortunate, location wise, where I stay. I'm not too far from sort of a 8 or 9 clubs, so you can get to games within 10-15 minutes, which is quite good. So just pick a game this Saturday and hopefully there's goals.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you very much for joining me, mate. I thoroughly appreciate it.
No bother, Scott. Right. Much appreciated. Thank you.
And thank you very much everyone tuned in, folks. We will be back in a couple of weeks for the next episode of the 80. We'll be back around about the kind of 26th, 27th. Till then, enjoy all the games you're at, and we will see you all soon. Thank you.